The number one question I get as a death witch is about shadow work, because the term gets thrown around so often it has lost its meaning. Carl Jung is one of the originators, and we could focus on the aspects where it's like, oh, look at the darkest, discarded, disgusting parts of yourself, learn how to integrate them. Let's focus on the process. We can focus on the history later. The thing about shadow work at its core is you're sitting with the uncomfortable. You are going through your past and you're going along this trip to look at the parts of yourself you discarded. But the hardest part is starting. Now, if you're doing shadow work by choice, you want to make sure you have a good foundation. And that includes people that know you so well, and hopefully a good therapist. Because there will be phases where you have your foot in one phase and your foot still in the other phase. If that metaphor doesn't work for you, think about it like a cocoon phase and you're goo. You don't know who you are in that moment. So it helps to have people who know you and who can sit with you, so that when you are piecing yourself back together for this next phase, you have a general guide on how to do so when you've forgotten how to piece yourself together. That's why it's recommended that you do shadow work with people. You don't do it in isolation, because it is the deconstructing and reconstructing of self. And the way you accomplish this and how much deconstructing and reconstructing you want to do is up to you. You have your life to do it. It's not a race. There are times where you should take a break from shadow work, because you also want to figure out ways to integrate light and joy. If you're always doing shadow work, there's a chance you can get really bitter, really cynical. So always keep things in balance to the best of your ability. I know life doesn't always allow it. If you stuck around this long, you're probably asking, well, how do I do it? A few different ways. Therapy is one of them, because you're looking at what you got from your family, what came from culture, what came from society. And a lot of stuff can come up during that time, but also the grief of parts of yourself you forgot you let go of. And the realization of like, man, I should have never let that go in the first place. That's heavy. So it helps to have somebody. Then tarot is another way. I was lucky that I have a good intuition. My life's rough. Spirit had to give me something. So that's what worked for me. And then eventually therapy came in the mix. Don't recommend that way, so that's why I tell you the therapy first. Learn from my mistakes. Journey work is another way. If you've ever heard of soul retrieval, it's projecting consciousness upwards and going through the different levels and finding aspects of your soul you've discarded, because there are some belief systems that believe shadow work is reclaiming parts of the soul. If you're doing soul work, please look into histories and please know the practice you're doing that through. We are not practicing cultural appropriation. I'm just letting you know it exists generally. Be responsible. And the last question would be, why do people do shadow work if it sounds so painful? As a medium, when I see people pre-shadow work, it's like their energy's like super knotted. And it's heavy because it's knotted and matted. Whether it's from ancestral stuff, trauma, life, and shadow work kind of helps them loosen the knots, straighten things out so energy can flow better. And it's a process, and parts can get re-knotted. Life isn't linear. But when you do get to a certain point where you've unknotted and released a lot, it can make people feel lighter. I think the scariest part for me when I started shadow work was I was expecting monsters. I expected to hear terrible things about myself, that I was useless, that I was broken, that I wasn't worth my existence. What I found was the contrary. Sure, I don't enjoy my anger very much. That was an aspect of self where I'm like, I don't like rediscovering you, but I'm gonna have to coexist with you. But I rediscovered hope, rediscovered things that brought me joy. And taking back my whimsy, taking back the cutesy, taking back all these things that were mine. Because it's a homecoming. Or at least for me, it's a homecoming. You, on your journey, will probably find a different word. So that's totally fine. And for those of you that are watching who are at different phases of shadow work, I'm curious to hear about people's experiences too. Because do not go off of my definition alone. Be curious. Good luck. You got this.